good? You guys want me to use the mic?
Maybe.
All right.
Turn that off.
I like the lapel thing better. All right. How's that? Is that better? Okay. So I had like an intro and everything written down, what I was going to say. And I don't know why I picked this song to play before I get up here, because that song is like my favorite song of all times. And the ethereal part and the chorus just tears me up. So, bear with me. So a lot of this, you guys are going to go, wow, we've just heard this yesterday. We talk about it all the time. But I wrote 2 other sermons, I guess you'd call them, prior to this one, because the Holy Spirit just told me, hey, you need to start writing this down. So I get my notebook out, start writing stuff down. Steve asked me if I wanted to do this, and I said, sure. Well, the Holy Spirit said, don't scratch those 2, you need to start a different one. It's funny how that guy likes to get in your head, messes with you a little bit, and you're like, oh, great. So, basically what we're going to talk about is what we need to do. We need to get out there, and we need to build our kingdom up, God's kingdom. And the only way we're going to do that is to put on our boots, get out and start knocking doors. So if any of you guys are like me, I'll probably go up and knock on the first door, and they'll answer the door. Can I help you? I'll be like, So the whole thing is, I looked this up, and because I think a lot of us probably deal with first impressions of people. We claim we're not judgmental. We're human. We're judgmental. You're going to walk up on somebody's house, it's going to be like, well, this place is kind of scary looking. I don't know who's in there. I'll skip it and go to the next one. Or their cars are trashy, their yard's overgrown. But you never know. There might be some guy in there that's, his wife passed away 20 years ago, and he's become a recluse. Somebody brings him food in, and that's it. That's all he sees with the outside world. You might be the light of his day, actually the light of his rebirth. So don't judge somebody by their house or whatever. So you might walk down the street and see somebody kind of dragging their feet, and they look like they're high. I'm not going to mess with them. They may not be high. They may be depressed. What are you going to do? We can't judge people we can't judge that book by its cover. First time I picked up the Bible, I'm like, these words are small and it's big. Do I really want to do this? Of course, I was like 8 years old. But that first impression thing, we're going to have to break past. And that's going to be the hardest part. So there's sort of kind of like a list, I guess, of steps to go through. You don't have to follow them. Everybody's different in their ways. So once we get past that first impression, that judgmental part, first thing you need to do is pray. You got to pray, pray, pray. You need to align your heart with that of the Holy Spirit. And you have to listen to the Holy Spirit. You can't, all this noise pollution out here, even the sound of the air conditioner running, I hear it. You got to pray and pray and pray and listen to the Holy Spirit. And He'll give you a list. He'll tell you somebody. Even if you're walking down the street and we're out doing this thing, we're out knocking on doors. And what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Start praying inside your head. Keep praying, keep praying, keep praying. And He'll give you those words. All right, ready, Peyton? So, my first of many scriptures, James 5:16, these are all New King James. Confess your faults one to another and pray one for another that you may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So Steve's had us Pastor Steve has started to start doing corporate prayer on Sunday mornings. I feel the effects. I'm sure he feels the effects. I'm sure a lot of you that are here feel the effects. Peyton was moved to pray for me before we came up here. That's the effects of that corporate prayer. It's starting to take hold. It's starting to take roots. Prayer is very important in our life. Nicole and me have both told each other we don't fail at it. We're scared, which is a bad thing, to be vocal in our prayers. That's why in corporate prayers, you usually hear us silent over there. We're praying in our bed, we're listening. I think we're afraid we're going to say something wrong. And I know God knows our heart. Jesus knows that. There's nothing wrong with it. So pray, just pray. We just need to get it past that part. Number 2 is trust in God. Luke 12:11 through 12. And when they bring you unto the synagogues and unto the magistrates and powers, take ye no thought how or what thing ye shall answer, or what ye shall say, for the Holy Spirit shall teach you in the same hour what ye ought to say. So once we're prayed up, that fear we're going to face, are they going to reject us? Are they going to slam the door in our face? What are we going to do? Are we going to stand there, like I said, like I probably will my first time, stumbling? Are we going to knock on the door of one of our coworkers? What do you, God's already made the way for you. God already knows what's going to happen. It's your brain in here telling you otherwise. Go away. That's Satan going, no, don't do it. Don't do it. You're scared. You're scared. And especially if your coworker answers that door and you're like, for me, that could be a little scary. Because I've actually, several years ago, when we were doing this, passing out stuff, I knocked and out came one of my coworkers. And I could tell she knew that I already had a heart for Christ. But she listened. She listened. But still, the nerves were there. When she answered that door, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be great. And you know what? She actually told people at work that, hey, well, Richard knows where I live at now, stuff like this. So, if you just got to get past those nerves, knock on that door. Like I said, he knows the outcome, we don't. So you might get the door slammed in your face. You might answer the door like I used to want to answer the door on Jehovah's Witness. They might be standing there completely naked. So, you never know. So let's go on. All right, that's the Steve Wireman coming out of there. James 1:23 through 25. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a mirror. That verse really struck out to me because, that's a whole other thing. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. So they've answered the door, and you're still kind of stumbling for words. The Holy Spirit's starting to speak to you. You're starting to hear him. You need to strike up that conversation. You don't have to throw the Bible in their face right off the bat. Find a common ground with these people. If they answer the door, you have a really nice yard. And I was just, by the way, do you have a minute we could talk, something like that, talk about their yard. Say, how'd you grow that elephant ear so big or something? Get a conversation started with them. If you know them, well, use something you guys know, a memory, something you guys did in the past. Strike up a conversation with these people. Don't stand there and fumble for words and don't say, something crazy to scare them. You don't want to scare them. That's the whole thing. Because every time you turn around and you lose track of yourself and what you want to say, it's Satan putting the brakes on. And you need to come up with something familiar to both of you, or like I say, compliment something. Colossians 4:6. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer every man. So you've introduced yourself, the ice has been broke. So this was kind of my fun part to write here for some reason, but whatever. It's not a business meeting. So in a business meeting, I have a degree in business management, and something that was taught, everything but sports, politics, and religion is free game. Except that those three things in a business meeting are out, because you will lose that client if you start going in that direction. However, this is not a business meeting, so everything's open. Find a favorite topic. Mine's food. Everybody knows that. So you got the judgment out. You've struck up a conversation with the people. You've found some common ground with them. And you're keeping safe away. And if you need be, you can pray in your head while you're standing there, and just keep asking. Just keep asking the Holy Spirit what next. So the whole thing is we're just trying to plant a seed. That's all we're trying to do. So now comes up, when do we bring up the spiritual topics as something else? Are you ready to, this is where it gets a little more interesting. I think, personally, this would be hard for me. How long are you willing to fight for this person? Irregardless of, even though they may be talking, I don't want nothing to do with that, whatever. How long are you willing to fight for this person's soul? Are you willing to come back? Are they busy? Can you come back? Are you ready to make it a relationship with this person? A personal, one-on-one relationship with these people? Because this could take quite a while to break through. Do you have the time? Can you make the time? I know we all say we don't have time. I've got time.